Apparently, this guy, Quinthio, went and talked to Pirate Software's ex-roommate because this guy is clearly a dedicated Pirate Software schizo at this point. I just like hearing new information. I'll wait to weigh in until I hear everything, but yeah, this guy is not stopping at any length to go after Pirate. I wonder if Pirate and him have any beef, like pre-existing, or if this guy is just a professional hater. Which, by the way, nothing wrong. I'm not hating the guy's game whatsoever, but this guy is deep diving this dude's life. Can you imagine what would have happened if Pirate Software just apologized when he fucked up? It would like good ending unlocked. Da, 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 da. You know what I'm talking about? Like the good ending, Pirate Software actually apologized. Big smiles would be great. And he goes back to being like one of the most beloved streamers of all time. Pirate called him a real fraud. Wait, Pirate called him a fraud, so he's going 100% in. Ooh. I also heard that this guy like posted screenshots of like Pirate Software's information, and Thor posted them with like censoring, saying that he doxed him, but it was just like publicly available shit. Yeah, I heard Pirate Software lied about the doxing this guy did. This guy, the doxing. I heard it was all a lie, but let's keep going here.
An ex-coworker and roommate of Pirate Software. Now, you guys saw the first part of that interview last week when I talked about the Twitch terms of services. This person had worked at Twitch for 8 years, as well as working at Blizzard alongside Pirate Software. I figured the information was so different from the beginning of our interview to the end of it that I wanted to separate it between two separate parts. And I apologize for this one not coming out sooner, which if you want more info on that entire debacle, check out my last video. But we go into detail from Pirate Software, even on his first day on the job, apparently just browsing Reddit. For a man that says that he didn't get his job through nepotism the second time, which is when this would have taken place, it doesn't really line up.
And like, this is kind of my whole career, right?
That's still doxing if done online. So I absolutely agree with you. Posting someone's information is definitely doxing somebody. Like Twitch is supposed to ban for that. But I think we'd all agree there's a big difference between doxing someone's like real name and address and their front door versus like just posting a YouTube video on their already public information. Like there is a difference. There's levels to this shit, right? There is a difference between level 1 doxing and level 10 doxing, right? And I think the problem was that Pirate Software was pretending it was like level 8 doxing when in reality it was like level 3. Did you know Pirate worked at Blizzard? Pirate Software worked at Blizzard? Why the fuck's he not talking about that?
My first job I got through nepotism, 100%. My dad worked at Blizzard for 23 years. Then I came back to Blizzard in 2009 and I applied, not having his help in any way. I got the job.
More than that though, we dive into the roommates' experiences and how they only ended up lasting about a week before putting their foot down and saying that Pirate needed to leave. But with all of that out of the way, just last two things. Number one, shout out to my parents and my brother and my fiance's parents as they grouped together and got this really cool neon sign, which unfortunately flickers. So I don't know if you guys will see it in another video, but it looks really sick. Special thank you to them. They got it as a surprise because the channel's been doing well recently. So thank you again to all of you if you're watching. And lastly, if you're new here, consider subscribing. It really helps out trying to hit 100K by the end of the year. We're about to hit 80, which is insane. But just that single press of a button helps me a great deal. And if you end up hating me later, it's just another button tap away. Also, liking the video helps out. So if you find the information in this video useful, give it a thumbs up, get other people to see it. But regardless of if you do any of that, thank you for watching. Nice to meet you. If you could just kind of give your name and then just kind of your experience with Twitch and just kind of your experience with Pirate, everything in between that you think would be relevant to what we're going to talk about today.
Hi, my name's Cynthia Hall.
So this is the roommate. Oh man. Oh man, this is crazy.
Yana Online. I am a lifelong artisan cosplayer. I worked for 5 years at Blizzard and then 8 years at Twitch. And I happen to work with Pirate Software at Blizzard as his wrangler on Diablo 3.
Really quick, number one.
This is his boss? Or at least a superior? What the fuck?
But number two, Wrangler. So what is that? What does that mean to be a Wrangler for someone during? So you said it was during Diablo 3 testing?
Yes. Basically, what happened is we share the same last name. That's why I don't mind sharing my last name. When I joined the company, they literally thought that we were related because I have a couple of years on him. So they thought that I was his older sister. And they thought that with me coming in, I could potentially handle him and he would be less of a problem if we were working together. So this was a thing that I had to clarify like day one of me moving onto the team.
So this was, the assumption was, oh, okay, they're siblings. She can kind of
yes. And he'll be less of a problem because we're related and I could go tell daddy.
That's really funny. With him, yes. So with this him being a problem, now is that unique to Pirate or is that just to speak to every new person coming into the company?
That was speaking to him, and it was not that he was an HR violation problem. Don't get me wrong. He's very charismatic. He is easy to get along with socially. However, he was very neglectful of actual work. He was hard to rein in. He was hard to get to focus on anything important. Like he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And it wasn't like he was a jerk about it. Like I don't want to misconstrue that at all. I'm sure everybody has seen his streams. Like he pulls off the personality. You know, like he's nice to his coworkers. Yeah. He wanted to do what he wanted to do.
When we're talking about what's important for, let's say, for instance, the Diablo 3 testing, so what was the important stuff that he needed to take care of, and then what was he doing alternatively?
So I was also the person who wrote all of the test cases. He was on the monsters team with me. So we're talking dealing with all the spawns in the game, all the boss testing, having to do all the smoke tests whenever there were new builds, that just end to end, make a character run through to skeleton king kill. Like that's just testing the builds. Whatever the task was for the day, it could just be spawning different monsters and testing their affixes to see how they perform. That easy. But he would just kind of create a character and idle in the client and read Reddit. That's literally what he did. He sat in front of me and I was assigning the tasks.
There's no way the guy who kickstarted the game 8 years ago and has only done about 2 hours of work is lazy at his job too. There's no fucking way. No, I don't believe this.
So not only did I see the work he was not doing, I saw what he was doing instead the entire time.
Okay, so sorry, to clarify, yeah. He was Redditing instead of doing his job, which was essentially he, instead of spawning in and just like running Skeleton King, which I know is like literally that first act, or just testing monster spawns, it was just him browsing Reddit.
Basically, because it was apparently too demanding of his time to
now
actually work.
Was this immediate? Was this a gradual onset of more Redditor Thor coming out? Okay.
This was a constant, and it was to the point.
This might be the video where Pirate Software will never beat the nepotism, the nepo baby allegations. This is not a good look, guys. This is really not a good look.
Point where in QA we had a maximum of 2 displays. Like that was just your kit. You had 2 displays. If you had 3, it was because you had a Mac for testing.
Yep.
That's it. He requested a 3rd display because he claimed he needed it for his bots when he started doing some automation testing. He just wanted it to have the extra space for Reddit, YouTube, Mail. He just wanted the extra space.
Okay, totally fair.
I wish I was meaning. I am a huge slack ass, and I completely understand like the ADHD mentality of I just need stuff. And like I also I vibe code. Like I get it. If you're compiling, if you're running bots, you probably want to do other stuff while something is running and just kind of observe the console. I get it. I know how these things work, but
I think she's being pretty fair here, guys. I really do think she's being pretty fair.
I'm saying like this dude was legit just ignoring the tasks at hand. We would sit like with the window divider between us. I would sit there watching my buddy, and he would watch me, and we would just be sitting there waiting for Jason to actually participate in the team tasks that we had been assigned.
So why weren't you correcting it? Like if this was the entire way, like I would get fired if I was doing something like that.
Yeah. So that is the funny thing. I brought this up to my specialist who sat behind me. So it was specialist, me, Thor. He said, well, you could try to...
Do not say it's because of his dad. If she says he couldn't be fired because of his dad, this would look so bad.
Escalate it, but no one's going to do anything because I've tried to report it before. So I talked to my manager and I talked to one of the department heads. Like I talked to the manager over the project. And I was essentially told that no one is going to do anything because of who he is. And this has nothing to do with Joey Ray directly. Like, I want to make this very clear. I'm also friends with Joey Ray. Like, he is a mutual friend of friends. Okay, so like I've had direct interactions. I know him well enough to say he would absolutely not do anything to help Jason. Like, he is not somebody who spoke to get him rehired. But here's how nepotism actually works, which Jason also doesn't understand. It does not look good on your future at Blizzard if you mess with an executive son, period. Everybody knows who Jason is. If you write him up, if you fire him for misconduct or otherwise, people are going to know you did it. They're not going to know that anything was actually going on. They're just going to know you were the guy that fired Joey Ray's son. And your career is pretty much toast because everybody in the games industry knows each other too.
Ooh, that's just really not good to come out from your boss. That's just really, really, really not good to come out of your boss. Jesus Christ. Have you seen the Never Talked About Blizzard compilation? Yeah, I've seen it.
So who's going to actually do anything because Jason's doing nothing? Nobody. They're just going to let him do what he's going to do.
Because he's doing nothing. This is really bad, guys. Okay, if this were to come out about me, like I worked a job and I was a shitty fucking employee, nobody would fucking care. But when your whole identity is built around being like a good guy who's like earned everything he's done, all these big accolades of working at Blizzard and coding for a game, and then the game doesn't work. And actually, no, you are a Nepo baby. And actually, you were a shit employee. And actually, you're a bit of a dickhead. It's just kind of bad, bro. It's just kind of bad. I actually think come 1 year's time, I think Pirate Software might be cooked. Bro, that's so bad. Oh my God.
And that's exactly what I was told. And that's exactly why Jason was allowed to form his hacks team, which is actually just exploits testing. He was allowed to do whatever he wanted to do because nobody would course correct him.
Okay. Now, what year was this when he came on for the Diablo 3? Was this the first time he was hired in?
This was when he came back, I believe. This was, I think, 2011.
2011. Okay, so this is the second round of coming in. You said, to the best of your knowledge, it was as soon as he got hired back in, he was acting exactly like that. He was not.
Yeah.
Okay. With that knowledge, I also just kind of want to touch on, so you say that he kind of created that exploitation team, not because there was a requirement for it, but just because he would not be course corrected to do anything else. And the reason I kind of bring this up, I'm not trying to make Thor look bad intentionally, but I'm targeting the way that you had brought this up about him being and creating that exploit team. It wasn't because he was the best to do it. It's because he's the one that wanted to do it.
My understanding is it's what he wanted to do, and he presented himself as the best candidate to do it. And I am not going to pretend to know the inner workings of how it came to be because I was not part of those conversations at all. So I don't know if he actually formed the team or if the QA managers formed the team, including him. It's weird calling it a hacks team. It's really not hacking. Like, it is a focused automation testing team. That's really what it was.
Use
like,
bots to test the reported bugs and exploits.
Yeah, it was automation testing.
Okay. With that, I think we got a good understanding of what that was. I've kind of touched on that nepotism bit myself too, and was like, well, it's not just, oh, his dad, is like up here. It's like, well, it's not that. It's a very, you don't see it, you feel it. That's it. And the person who's, getting it is not going to notice that. So it's interesting. I'm glad we got a bit more insight on that. You guys knew each other clearly as coworkers. Was there anything like, did you guys spend time playing video games or anything like that?
Oh yeah, geez. A couple things. So video games, there was actually a charity event on campus. It's an Extra Life charity that every year as Team Zerg,
I'm familiar with Extra Life.
Unofficially, Blizzard would put together our own team for donations to raise money for Children's Hospital of Orange County. And we would play games on campus for 24 hours straight. Pirate just happened to participate in this. I was on his team for a league tournament, and he screamed at our team for apparently not gearing correctly to counter the other team because we were just that bad when it's not like we were losing so severely because we all played League regularly. It was not that big of a deal. And we're all sleep deprived. It was very early in the morning after an overnight of playing games. And we're like, seriously, dude, you are raging at everybody. Like
I bet just like in his Final Fantasy 14 raid, it was everybody else's fault, but his. Bro does not play well with others, man. Jesus. To be fair, he had no mana.
Entire team. He was just yelling.
Eat my entire ass.
Across the floor at everybody.
It's a charity event, correct?
It was a children's charity event. And we're like, wow, we all play League, but man, like we usually only experience this stuff in League. Most of us like played League with each other at work, but this was our first time actually playing with him, especially at work, so that was a whole new experience. And the last time literally any of us played any games with him. And ironically, I actually have something here that I wanted to show you. So they give us like these little cards whenever we do cool things at Blizzard. And this was related to the charity event that was like thanking me for playing nice with my coworkers. And I'm like, oh, wow, he got one of these too. So yeah, I was kind of floored when I was going through some of my work stuff. Before that had happened, and not too long after he had joined the team, I had a roommate who urgently had to move out. She had a family emergency. She could no longer stay in the apartment. And I was like, that's cool. I'll find another roommate. Panicking. Pirate joined the team, and he apparently urgently needed to move out of his dad's house for some reason. So anyways, I was like, hey, so I barely know you. And of course I asked some people around, so is this guy like a psycho? Is this something reasonable? Is he going to trash my place if I ask him, if he wants to rent this room from me? Because it was a full bedroom plus his own private bathroom. It was basically a split apartment setup. So it was ideal for renting and sharing. It wouldn't have been weird with Nicole coming over or anything. It would have been fine. And I knew Nicole as well. And she was perfectly normal human being.
Nicole being, sorry, who?
Nicole, I believe, is the girl he ended up marrying.
Okay.
His ex-wife. Yeah.
Okay. Just to confirm,
Guys,
so the time of the events, that charity thing happened a bit after, so you guys had already been rooming together, and then you did not know him prior to him going to work with you.
No,
okay,
not at all.
Cool.
He knew who Joey Ray was at the time. Told Pirate, I'm like, hey, are you really looking to rent a place? Because, I have this room open. So he ended up taking me up on the offer. He also had a cat, and I was like, cat non-destructive, right? I have furniture and stuff because, it's full of furniture. And he was like, yeah, totally non-destructive. I'm like, cool, because I love cats. I have no animals, fine fit. great. We're on the same team, same overtime schedule. Amazing.
So he ends up being your roommate. It sounds really good. You know, every bare minimum's met, not crazy girlfriend.
I'm gonna guess that he was a slob. I don't think that she's gonna say, and then Pirate Software fucking raped me. I doubt she's gonna say that. It's probably like he was like a slob or some shit. He gives slob vibes.
And a cat that he's saying is not destructive. How does that end up pooling out? How long were you guys roommates for?
It took days for him to start screaming at people on Eve overnight.
Eve Online. Eve Online.
Yes.
Okay.
The cat, that's totally non-destructive, straight up destroyed one of the chairs within the first week. And because it was patent leather, like the polyurethane stuff, he offered to tape it up for me, not replace it, and also tried to make it out like the cat never did anything to the chair, even though it was like raked and like cheese grated up.
The cat raped the chair.
The cat scratched the shit out of the chair. There's no...
Scratched the shit out of the chair.
Right. You can't do that any other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say this right now. This is a her error. This is a her error. You're the one who believed in a non-destructive cat. Cats are going to be cats. Dogs are going to be dogs. All animals are going to destroy furniture. It's up to you whether that's worth it or not. Okay? They're fucking cats.
There was no way around it. Pretty much any time that I came home and went into the kitchen, all the dishes everywhere, like the pans, still food in them on the stove, shit everywhere, food, countertops, everything everywhere. Like, it was not disgusting sty, but it was very just a fucking mess. Okay. And when you're working overtime, you just want to come home, make a quick meal or whatever, especially on weekends when you're not doing overtime. You don't want to have to clean up after your roommate to function in your own apartment. So it was just like trying to do gentle nudging, like, hey dude, could you like be a bit better about putting away leftovers and stuff, you know, like trying to be diplomatic about the whole thing. And I'm like, the fucking combination of things, right? You know, like the not letting me sleep, the cat destruction, the mess of it all.
That was happening within the first week, all of these things that you're listing.
First week.
Okay. How long did this go on for?
Well, this made me more suspicious about what else was going on. And I'm not
To be fair, I kind of like don't care about any of this. Okay, he was a slob and his cat destroyed a chair. I don't care. It seems at this point we're bitching just to bitch. I think there's an L on her part, to be completely honest. I don't give a fuck if he's a bad roommate. I don't care.
privacy invader, but he had left the door open to his bathroom, and I like just looked inside because it was in the hallway. It was like a hallway to go through to the bathroom, and then his bedroom, which the door was closed, so I did not go in there. And then my bedroom. So like,
is this Pirate Software's X? If this was Pirate Software's X, I wouldn't have watched the video. I don't give a fuck to hear a honest review on someone's previous partner. Like, oh man, I wonder what their ex-girlfriend's gonna say. Oh man, I wonder what their ex-boyfriend's gonna say. Yeah, I bet it's not good.
I just turned on the hall light and I peeked in there, and the place
because they probably broke up for a reason, huh?
Was a fucking sty. He had never put up.
Plus, Pirate Software's ex would be a boy because he's gay.
A shower curtain in the bathroom. There was like ashy stuff everywhere, like gray ash kind of looking spots everywhere, including like in the shower, on the floors, on the countertops. The toilet it had been a fucking week, and I could not understand the state of things. Let me just say that I was very concerned. Okay. And the sum of it all, I was like, this is not going to work out, my guy. So I just like had a talk with him, and I was like, hey, look, like, this is not a thing between us because you're a cool dude, but like with the cat who said non-destructive, already destroyed a chair, this is not going to work out. Like, I'm pretty sure that's straight how I played it, but I'm like, the sum of all things, I do not need this apartment destroyed. You know, it's my deposit, my name on this primarily because I was a primary resident, and I do not need destruction of property on my record or any of that. So like, I could not take that chance. He inelegantly took it as a, all right, fine, I'll move out kind of thing. He did get out of there within the next month. He never paid me back for the chair, by the way, never did anything about that. And when he finally did move out, I wish I had, saved pictures of the state of his room. He had cleaned nothing, so I had to clean everything by hand. There was like, I don't know what on the walls in his bedroom, and you're just gonna have to like take my word for this. I don't know if it was snot or something else, just like wiped here and there on the walls, and more of the like random gray stuff, just spots and things. It's very clearly not like smoke ash because there was no odor of it or anything.
That is just strange. That sounds like a cryptid.
It was very strange, right? It was disgusting. Like, I was masked up and gloved up and everything for all of this because, like, holy...
He's a gooner. Who cares?
Like,
once again, I don't care if he's a slob at his house. I truly don't care.
Well, gross. Lesson learned. Don't get guys as roommates, especially when you're a girl who gets the icks from this kind of thing.
So that's a lot of that personal stuff. Now, I think that is relevant. I do think so. This was, what, 10 years ago now? 15?
Forever, yeah. Quite some.
So I'm not, again, this isn't to dismiss that. That sounds absolutely horrific. You know, this was some of that old stuff, but I really appreciate getting to hear it. If you have any information, like whether it be like even if you have text messages or emails or anything else to kind of corroborate that time, it'd be awesome. If you don't, that's, you know, we're just taking your testimony as testimony. And I think it's just good to know, have some of that context getting into it.
I'll send you over some of the screenshots that I also sent to some of my other coworkers, because like when all the pirate stuff like really started stirring, like we started sending stuff to each other. One of our other friends, he's another person that played League with Jason at one point. Apparently also got raged at. But this guy is a master troll. This guy was also one of my best friends. Would print out a photo of Edward Cullen's face and tape it to the bottom of Pirate's mouse, so that whenever he would come back to his desk, he would wiggle his mouse to try to wake his PC, and he just couldn't wake his PC. So he'd have to flip his mouse over and be greeted with Edward Cullen's face. And you could just hear him scream across the floor.
It's good to know. So this wasn't like, you know, he swooned everybody with his charisma. Because like, I'm not gonna lie, like the internet understands that. A lot of people are, you know, he was in the good graces of most of the internet literally just a year ago. But you're saying, so even with that, and I think it makes sense based on his quote unquote work ethic or lack thereof, there were people that already were like, he was just kind of irritating.
And I feel like this is why a lot of people aren't really talking about him, because like there's several camps of us. Either people just legitimately didn't know him at the time, didn't care to know him, don't remember him, aren't even aware he exists at this time. He was on.
I think this last 40% of the video shouldn't even exist. Yeah, I think if this video was stopped at the 13 minutes, it would have been great. But now she's just coming off as like just like a fucking whiner. And now we're bitching just a bitch. Like, who cares?
On no one's radar. There's no reason for him to be.
Like, the beginning was honestly like, oh, okay. This person was their boss and they were a shit employee and they didn't do their fucking job. Because they often, you know, Pirate often talks about his accolades. This chick is losing credibility by the minute.
On anyone's radar right now. They have no clue. There's people like me who had to work directly with him and are just so raged that they don't want to talk about him. There are his few friends who like may speak positively about him, but we don't really hear anything from them. But then there's also the few people.
Yeah, then
who
also
want
the
to
all
speak
men
out,
are bad line that was like, all right, dude.
Because they're afraid of the repercussions. And I feel like that's the majority of the people that I know too, because games industry is so small.
Doesn't it help him make him look worse? So, Lakirian, my sweet, sweet, sweet baby. Let me explain to you why this doesn't do anything, right? So for Pirate Software, you should be going after a guy when you have proper reasoning, right? And a guy who's saying, hey, I'm this really good employee. Hey, I'm really good at this job. Oh, I worked at Blizzard. There was no nepotism. And then you correct those claims. That's how you dismantle somebody. That's when there's an actual issue. Now we're just bitching just a bitch. His cat destroyed my chair. There was he was in his room and he cummed on the walls. He was a little bit unclean with the dishes. All right. I should have known better than to move in with the man. They give me the ick. So what did that do? To be honest, absolutely nothing.
A lot of people are still in games. So they don't want to talk about these things because, again, you know, like they don't want things to come back to them.
Is it even a matter of, so does Jason's dad...
Because, like, by the way, guys, if any of you guys are like, oh, I'm going to stop watching Pirate Software because he's a messy roommate, I guess all you guys should also unsubscribe to Asmongold. It's like, who cares? Like, legitimately, who cares? Nobody fucking cares. Let's keep going here.
Does he have this like undying love and adoration for his son that is going to impact someone's work history? Is it just the fact that you would speak about someone's son?
No,
you should also unsubscribe to me, man, because like I'll be real, like I've jizzed on walls. Guys, I used to piss in cans. Who cares? Who cares if someone's a slob? Like, yeah, who cares?
So here's the thing about Joey Ray. I am not in his DMs at all about any of this because I respect him and I...
Asmon wouldn't rope on some female friend's wall, I think. It was his room that he was paying for in an apartment. He may have inadvertently, while masturbating, shot a load on the wall. This isn't him sneaking into women's rooms and coming on the wall. This is his own room that he moved out of. Like, come on, man. We're like, you got to understand. This is why I love talking about the Pirate Software hate. Because seeing so many people try to pull like these fucking mountains out of molehills, it's just like, bro, come on. We can talk about how he was a bad employee. We can talk about the nepotism, but like, I'm not gonna watch it because he came on his walls. Okay.
You know, like at least in the past about how he's felt about this thing. His entire mentality has been, if you have a problem with Jason, take it up with Jason. Like he doesn't want to deal with any of that. He's not the kind of person who's like going to come to his rescue.
That sounds like the healthiest way for nepotism to be dealt with. That sounds like, I mean, Joey Ray sounds like, yeah, you shouldn't be going to me because that's how you propagate this. So I guess I was more asking, like, the people that shied away, is it simply because they knew that Thor was, you know, the son of him, or was it because like there were also consequences because he was was he protecting Thor in any step, or was it just the fact that they were, you know, father and son?
A lot of people that aren't speaking up aren't doing it because they're afraid of Thor's followers. Actually, they're afraid of internet repercussions and internet people coming to them.
There's nothing to do with the dad.
Like, legitimately, has nothing to do with his dad, because his dad, like, especially anybody that knew him like at Blizzard while they were there, and those of us like who know him a little bit better outside of Blizzard, he's normal. He's just a dude. Like, he happens to have been an executive who worked at Blizzard forever. He's a cool guy, don't get me wrong, but he's not somebody who's going to mess with people. That is not him. He is not like that. He would never do anything like that.
I just wanted to include that last part there because I think it's important to make a distinction that it wasn't like, you know, Joey Ray going out of his way to smite down anybody that would talk badly or, you know, report his son. I just really wanted to make sure that I was representing him in the same way that she was describing him. And just to reiterate on a final note, like, yeah, this stuff happened back in like 2011. Now, Pirate was like 24, 25 at around this time. So I still think, you know, Brain was pretty well developed at this point. You know, maybe he has changed over the last, like, truly over a decade now. I think probably the most significant part of this video is just kind of pushing back on his claims that he didn't get the second job at Blizzard through nepotism, when it looks very clearly, based off of her testimony, like that's exactly what happened. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me
I absolutely agree. Let's just take out like what we can assume from this, right? Did he get the job based on nepotism? Yeah, I would say so. Was he a slob when he was 23, 24? Yeah. Do we care? Nah. Did his cat destroy a chair? Yeah. Do we care? Not really. I guess Pirate Software could pay for the chick's chair if he's really that ass hurt about it. But like, I'll be real, like, it's non-issues, right? But was he nepotism? Was he bad at his job? Yeah. So he should probably move his gimmick from like, I was an ex-Blizzard employee, and just kind of accept the reality that, well, I mean, you got the job because of your dad, and that's pretty much it. Like, comment, subscribe.